Everybody back for another episode on the old Suburban. So let's take a look at what we've been doing. I've been doing a whole lot of the same thing. So I'll tell you what, let's go inside, get a word from the Lord, then we're going to come out and take a look at what we're doing, and then we'll get to work.
No, you're not bringing home another piece of junk.
Hey everybody, so we are getting ready to head out to the shop, and we're going to be doing a lot of sanding and a lot of body work. So this is going to be like a I hate this part. It's so tedious, but you know, you gotta push through and you gotta get it done. So in this video, we're gonna get quite a bit of that done. As far as the message this time, dug up some pictures of Dad. I've been looking at old pictures lately, and I just got a new grandbaby, and her name is Peyton, and she is beautiful. She is my youngest son Jordan's first baby. Big baby, almost 10 pounds and 23 inches long. So yeah, she's a toddler right out of the womb there. But oh my gosh, she's beautiful. But my dad loved his grandchildren, and I think he loved his grandchildren more than his children. And now that I'm a grandpa, I can relate. So let me show you a few pictures here. I think you've seen this one. This is Dad and me and my nephew Nathan. I think Nathan was probably one of his favorites. They're all his favorites, but he really loved Nathan. And in fact, there's me and Nathan. I'm the one that my mom dressed really weird. So that's in the 70s for sure. This is my niece Steph holding my daughter Jess on her back. So Steph was, I talk about my sister Julie on here a lot, who passed. That's her daughter. And this is Dad and Mom and my nephew Jared, or Mouse as we call him, who is Steph's brother. And that weird shirt Dad got on, I bought that for him for his birthday because he dressed so plain. He always wore these single color bandline shirts. I was like, Dad, you need some color. So I got him this shirt, and I think he wore it for that picture, and I don't think he ever wore it again. Jared was one heck of a baseball player, and oh boy, Dad loved that. You know, Dad had to try out with the Cardinals many years ago, and I remember Dad out in the backyard with Jared, showing him some sneaky pitches. So here's Dad, probably at about my age, pretty close to what I am now. And that's his sister Jude next to him, his brother Leo next to him, his sister Jane next to him, and that's my grandpa, my dad's dad, who I only really met a few times. He passed away when I was really young, and he just we didn't see him much. Anyway, so I started wondering, what does the Bible say about being a grandpa? So I looked up some Bible verses, and here's insights on the role of grandfathers. Grandfathers often serve as loving guides and role models, imparting wisdom and values that shape the lives of their grandchildren. They are seen as figures of strength and resilience, providing a moral compass and a spiritual guidance. That's a pretty heavy-duty responsibility we got there, boys. So I'm glad I read that, and I try to do that with my my grandbabies, even though some of them ain't babies no more. But model how my dad related to his grandchildren. And just a couple of Bible verses. 2 Timothy 1:5. I am reminded of your sincere faith which first lived in your grandmother Lois and in your mother Eunice, and I am persuaded now lives in you also. This verse highlights the legacy of faith that can be passed down through generations, including from grandfathers. And then one more, Psalm 103:17. But from everlasting to everlasting, the Lord's love is with those who fear him, and his righteousness with their children's children. This verse reflects the enduring love of God that extends to grandchildren, emphasizing the spiritual legacy that grandfathers can nurture. You know, what a great responsibility we have, and what a great opportunity we have to pass on the legacy of our faith to our grandchildren. And my grandson, Caden, was baptized in a church of a good friend of mine, Brother John, and actually I got to lead Caden to the Lord. He accepted Christ in the parking lot of Walgreens. He asked me to pray with him and accept Jesus, and then he was baptized, and that was a pretty special moment for me. So just a few thoughts on that today, and I hope all of you out there who are grandpas, just take that to heart of what how wonderful our grandchildren is, and what a blessing they are from the Lord. Two, what a wonderful opportunity we have to be able to minister to them through teaching the Word and through action, through what they see in us. And three, what a responsibility we have that kids love their grandpas, and they look up to us, and they really need to see Jesus in us when they look at us. It may be the only Jesus they see. You run into situations where some kids aren't going to church. The only church they go to is one they go with you or go with us. So great responsibility, great opportunity. So let's have a quick word of prayer. Father, I thank you for for my dad, and for how he showed me how important it is to be a grandfather, and the value of grandchildren, and how heavy that responsibility is. And I thank you for my grandchildren. I love them so much, and for the blessing they are. And I just pray for myself that I would accept that responsibility also, and make sure that I am teaching them about you. And prayers for all the other guys out watching this who are grandpas. The same for them. Just lead us and guide us in the path that you want us to be when we are ministering to our grandchildren. We ask this in the name of your precious Son, Jesus. Amen. All right, let's go do some body work. All right, so as you can see, we've been putting on body filler, and not a ton of it, but I had some dents on this thing that I had to work out. So you can see I got one up there. It was a small one. There was a couple of places that I really didn't even know had dents. It was more of a low spot when I stripped the old paint off. I could see a previous repair there, and they just kind of had some skim coats on there, so I just went ahead and redid those, and we'll go ahead and sand those out. And you could feel a little bit of a low spot in there, not too terrible. Up here is where the factory mirrors were, so I left one stud there and filled the rest of it. We're going to put, you seen the earlier pictures of, or the picture that I had of Dad's old truck, and it had the white, like the, I don't know, you don't call them cargo mirrors, what do you call them? Towing mirrors. I got a set of those we're going to put on there, so we'll use that stud and drill off of there. So a couple of patches underneath we got, and then I have been working on these back doors. Actually got a little on this side too. Got a small one right there, not too terrible. And then same thing here. There was just a low spot right there that they had filled before, so I thought, why not? We'll fill it again, and I got my rocker patches done. So now the back doors they're kind of beat up. Like I said, no rust, but I had a dent there. I had a dent there. That's where the old emblem was, so we welded those holes up. Had a small one there, and I've been going through and just really cleaning up this edge and sanding it and getting ready to where I could paint that. And I put some primer in there, and we're going to sand that down. If you look at these hinges, the only way to get these hinges clean and be able to paint them is you got to take the door off and you got to take the hinges out. And then you go over here and you look at these hinges and they're just, you know, they got 2 coats of old paint on them. They got surface rust on them. So we are stripping these down to bare metal. I'm primering them and I'm putting some paint on the parts that like go in the body and in the door so that, you know, they're protected. And then I've got the other door off, took those hinges out and we're working on that. So just doing this door and sanding these edges and getting that old gasket out and doing what I have with the filler. I mean, I've been working on this thing all week. Haven't really recorded much because it's, I don't know, it's kind of monotonous to show. Did finish up my welding, that patch down there at the bottom. So that came out good. We got some filler on that. We got to sand that. So I want to go ahead and get these back doors both kind of done and back on and get what filler I need to in it and get these edges cleaned up. Once we do that, probably on this video, I'm going to go through and start knocking down all this body filler that we put on probably with a DA first and then with a longboard. I really want to get, I don't know if we'll get on this video or the next, I want to get to where I can primer the whole outside of this truck. And I was kind of thinking about my steps of what we're going to do. I think we are going to primer the whole thing, and then I think I'm going to go ahead and guide coat and wet sand the whole thing. And then paint the interior. I believe that's what we're going to do. So anyway, that's what's been going on. Sorry I didn't get a video out last week, but it is what it is. So all right, let's get these hinges cleaned up. We'll shoot a little paint on them, and then we'll get this working on this door. Going to show you what we do with this other door and get this on there. So back in a sec. All right, so let's get these things cleaned up, get a little paint on these, and then I think I'll work on that door and that side of the door frame and see what we got. Back in a sec. I had to stop and get the shop vac out. I had so much dust everywhere. Vacuumed out the back of this thing and all underneath it and just all around. So we're making a lot of dust. So anyway, I went ahead and I just hand sanded all this down, this whole jam with some 220. And there's a couple little rust spots where like water got under the paint. So couple little ones there. I knocked those off and we'll just put a little rust inhibitor on those. Now these back doors on these Suburbans are kind of a bugger because you see all these little holes. This has the rubber gasket that snaps into these holes all the way around, and they glue it. So getting that glue off of that joint was no fun, and some places it just did not all come off. But we're going to paint that and we're going to re-glue the new gasket over that. So as long as I'm, you know, past this line here of where all these little mounting holes are, I'm good. So that's pretty much ready to go. Got the hinges done. I don't know if you saw this on the last one. We put a little paint on the ends that go into the door and into the body, because we're going to paint this with the doors on. So then I left primer on the parts of the hinge that are exposed, and we'll get some primer on that. So let's go ahead. Where's my rust? My rust reformer. I'll tell you what, before I spray my rust reformer, let me take a rag with some lacquer thinner and just kind of wipe all that down that we just sanded so we get all the grit off there. Okay, so let's wipe all this down and then just put some stuff on there. Make sure I got all the goo and dust off there so that will have something to stick to. Yeah, you could strip this all the way down to metal if you wanted to, but like I said, on these jams, it's just the original paint. It wasn't resprayed over like the outside was, so I think this is going to be just fine. And I'm just going to fog it with a little bit of that high build primer. And then we'll take some 400 before we shoot it and just kind of give it a little smooth over. Let's see. A little bit there. Where else we got? Right there. A little bit right there. A little bit right there. So I'm not going to put a rubber mat back here. We're going to take bed coating and coat from here up to the end of the cargo area. Okay. That's pretty good. I'm gonna let that dry a few minutes. Let's go ahead and wipe this door down. We'll go ahead and put this door back on. Once this door is back on, then I think the next thing we're going to do is start knocking all these body filler spots down, and that'll take a few days. Thankfully, I got 4 days off coming up for the holiday. Only one of those days I've got plans to do something, so that gives me 3 good solid days to get this body filler smoothed out. And who knows, we may get some primer on this thing. I don't know if we will or not. I still got a couple of body filler spots to do on the roof I haven't done yet, but we'll get those. So if you're wondering, on your Suburban hinges, the long one goes on the top. And somewhere I got some bolts. Bolts have little plastic covers that go over them, so I'm not going to worry about cleaning these up. The ones on the door, I did paint, or did knock the old paint off of them. wrong socket. Find the right one. Get pretty excited about this thing. I already talked to my buddy Kyle about spraying it. Seen him on here before spraying other cars for me, so I'm gonna have him do this one. Just gotta steadier hand than I do, and there's a lot of area to paint. Going there across there. You know what? I didn't want to do that yet. Make sure we get a little primer behind that hinge. Right there. Because that thing's up pretty close to the body. Just gonna put a little bit right there. Just to make sure it gets in there. Alright. Yeah. Should be able to get it in there, but I just want to make sure. That's the holes that took the paint off of it. Beads. All right, now. I think I put the wrong hinge down there. Jeez. Hang on just a minute. Okay. That's frustrating. Now we're just gonna get this with a little primer here. This is just to give us something to stick to. We're just going to paint the, we're kind of using the old paint down here as our primer for the color. Took all the latches off, took the latches out of the doors. You want to be able to paint around all that stuff. Or I don't want to paint around it. I want to paint and then get it nice and clean and put it back on. That's the way I like to do it. Don't like painting around door handles, don't like painting around latches, hinges. Let me get this door. Two little spots on this door I want to get. Two little spots right behind the hinges. Just to make sure we don't have any problems getting paint in there. I can see the marks in the old paint where the door is adjusted to, so we'll put it right back to there. Right there. Correct. We'll get these adjusted right before we shoot the color in here, so we don't have to go back and disturb my freshly painted bulkhead. Time to wrap it up and go in and watch some Cardinal baseball. Put a little filler on here for you. snug this up right where it's at. And let's close this and see what it looks like. Make any small adjustments. That other door is looking really good on the adjustment. I gotta say the gaps were really good on here. All right, let's see. Need to go in at the bottom a little bit. Get a little rubber mallet here. Yeah, pretty good. Need to come out a little bit at the top. Just there, it might be it. Yeah. Good. Right there. There we go. Yeah, looks good. Okay, I've got a couple spots I need to mix up some filler on. I need a little spot there, and I think I need a little spot on this door. Still need some on the roof. I'm not gonna worry about that tonight though. Yep, right there. Little spot there, a little spot there, and a little spot there. Let's mix up some putty. Let's go over here. Good. Don't need a whole lot, just a couple of spots. Not too much dirt in there. That should be enough. Anything left in this one? Oh, a little bit. I mixed up too much. Better have a little too much on there than not enough. We can knock it off. One spot right there. Some people can lay putty down so smooth. I'm not one of them. That's what sandpaper's for. I think that's it. Pretty good. Waste a little bit. All right, so I got a few spots on the roof I'm gonna do. Just like where I welded some of those old holes up for the where the roof rack was. I'm gonna put a little filler over them, and then I think what we're gonna do is start knocking all this stuff down. So got 1, 2, 3, 4 spots over here and a few over there on the other side. Sorry. Yeah, about 4 over here. I got here, tiny one there, one down under the rocker and where the mirror was. And then we'll do these last. Over here we gotta smooth that quarter in. And then I got that one, which was just a low spot. That fixed on the door, spot on the rocker, and a little one on the wheel lip, and the one for the mirror. So not a ton to do. I guess we'll go ahead and start on them tomorrow night. I'll try to remember to pull my car out of here so I don't get dust all over it. But I wanted some 220 longboard paper for working this. I'll probably work it with some 80 first, get it down close. Then I got some 220 and some 400, and we'll smooth it out with one of those. So, all right, that's it for tonight. We'll get back on it tomorrow. All right, little update. So I've been sanding all my filler work down, and it's coming along pretty good. I went ahead and sanded this and then sprayed a little color on it and hit it with my longboard sander because I knew there were some low spots in it, and you can see where that color is, like right there and right there. I put a little more filler in that. There's a couple of places I'm gonna have to hit it with another one. I got a little low one Where is it? Right there. A little bit there, you can see the sander went right over the top of. And I also put filler up on the roof on all the old, there was some hail damage spots I banged out, and those the welding spots I did, so you can't really see them. There's so much dust up here. There's one. And just dots here and there. It's like, I don't know. I know there's ways to get hail damage out, but it's like nobody's gonna see it. It's good enough. So I got that side done. I got the back done. A couple more spots I'm gonna have to go over again here. And I got to here, got this spot. So I'm gonna work on this side now. We're gonna get this side all sanded out and this side of the roof sanded out. And then I'm gonna have to go back over with a second round of filler on those spots. And then I need to do my door edges, because I'm gonna go around and get all the double layers of paint off these door edges. You can see where, like here, that's the new paint over the old paint down to here. That looks like a tape line. So we're gonna knock all that off around all the door edges, and we'll have to hand sand some of that stuff out of there. And then around here on these door edges, we're gonna have to get that off of there. So a lot of little stuff to do with the old angle grinder. Yep, a little dent right there. Missed that one. I have to get a spot in that. And a little one right there. And the more you look, the more you find them. But we'll get them the best we can. All right, so let me, I don't know if anybody really wants to watch all that happening. Maybe we'll film a little bit of it tomorrow. But we'll get back on it tomorrow. All right, morning everybody. So we're back again. So we left off yesterday. We got that other side sanded. So today I need to get this side sanded. So we're gonna get this side sanded out. I got like half my spots on the roof sanded. I'm gonna get the other half of them going. Then we're gonna roll this dog outside, and I'm gonna blow all the dust off of it and vacuum up all the dust in here, and then go back around with pass number 2 of body filler. And I'm just kind of fine. If you've done body work before, you know, as you go along, you find more and more little stuff. So thankfully this thing is in, you know, pretty darn good shape. You know, we didn't do a whole ton of rust repair, but there's just always little things. I'm not going for showroom perfect, but I want it to be, you know, I want it to be decent, you know, better than your typical tractor paint job, or, you know, for your old Earl Scheib job, if you remember old Earl Scheib, painting a car for $99.95 from years ago. So all right, so I got this spot, rocker, that spot, some stuff on top, and then after we get the body filler, we're going to go through and start what I showed on last video, start getting these door edgings and where that double layer of paint is on the insides of these jambs, and get that cleaned out. So I mean, it's a process. It takes, you know, you work a full-time job and you come out here and do this. I mean, it's a good month and a half worth of work sometime to get all this stuff right. And I haven't even started on the front clip yet. I'm hoping to get this thing painted before the weather turns this winter, before it gets too cold. And then we can spend the winter putting this thing back together. And by spring, we're off and running and building something else. Okay, let's get rolling. That was a lot of work. But in fast time, it didn't look like a lot of work. This is a lot of real estate on this thing to work with. You know, it's quite a bit bigger than that Impala I painted at 61. If you look back several of my videos, but then it's in better shape too. So I guess it's a trade-off. But anyway, what I'm going to do now is we got it all blown off. I'm going to take a marker, go around, and all these spots, we're just going to do a real close inspection. All these spots I need to add primer to. I think first I'm going to take a rag with some lacquer thinner and just wipe on. Do I want to do that, or do I want to do a tack rag? I think I got some tack rags. Let's take a tack rag and wipe down all the filler spots. And any spots that, and I might do lacquer thinner too, I don't know. And any spots that we need to touch up with, man, there's another one right there. Oh, no, that's just some old primer. Any spots we need to hit that I didn't get with filler. I know there was a couple over there and one or two on top. So let me do that. We're going to let that dry for several hours before we do any sanding on it. And then in the meantime of doing that, I am going to start working on these door jambs. And this is probably going to be an all-day thing of getting those door jambs cleaned up and ready to shoot. And something else we need to do is on the other mirrors I got, I need to kind of figure out where the holes are going to be drilled for those, because I don't know if I want to like drill a hole and put a bolt through and have a nut on the back that if it comes loose or you need to get it off, that you've got to pull the door panel. Or another thing I thought is weld a nut to a plate, or drill the hole, figure out where the mirror is going to go on there, drill it, put a nut on the back of there if I can get in there. Yeah, I don't think I can get in there. And weld that nut so that if it ever comes loose, I don't have to pull the door apart to do it. I don't know. We'll think about that. Anyway, let me get back on it here. We'll take a look in just a bit. All right, so you can see I just kind of went around with a pencil, and I mean, some areas are obvious. You know, like there's a dip there when I had the long board over it, it skipped right over it. Same there, so didn't worry about marking those, but you know, got a spot there. Got that one there. Found that one there just a minute ago. Found this one here, a little one there. Just kind of went around with a pencil and you know, marked everything that I want to put a second coat on. That's already marked for us with the other color. Got one there. You know, this one self-explanatory. So not terrible. I'll tell you one thing. So this is a 91, this body. This is the last year of the square body Suburban. So the 87 was the last year of the square body truck. And then they carried on the square body Suburban and Blazer until 91. So, but look at these doors on this thing. And just how much give that metal has. And I think these doors are just really manufactured thin. I don't know if you can see that, how much that deflects, just barely pushing on that. But I don't know, other square body folks, if you're doing older models, there's another one. If you've noticed that I wonder if your door skins deflect that much, if these are thinner stampings. Interesting though. So yeah, you got to be careful when you're sanding it. You can't you definitely got to let the sander do the work. You can't push on it too much, which is probably why there's dings all over this thing, because you know, it's so the body's thin on it. But we'll take care of it and try to park it away from people. Anyway, just wanted to show that real quick. Let me mix up some filler. We'll get a second coat on this and we'll start on these jams. Sorry about the compressor noise, but all right, look what happened. So I started cleaning up this door jam. And look what we got. That's rust coming through, and I'm guessing, see these holes? That's where the rain gutters bolt onto this thing. And I kind of want to keep them on because I don't want that water coming in and riding down this door if it rains. I like it to roll off the door. That's what they're designed for. But I'm assuming water was getting in that hole and got back in here. And if you feel back up in here, you can feel it's a little, you can feel some rust up in there. So I'm not going to cut this open. We're going to take the spray bottle and do some rust treatment there, but we're going to have to slice this open and try and put a little patch in there. So that's going to be a several hour fix. Let's look at some of these other ones. Got a little spot there. Yeah, we got a little spot there. We could have the same thing going on. These back doors I already checked because, you know, we were doing a bunch of work on those. Let's see what these doors look like. Just when you think you got it all, you start uncovering hidden stuff, and this all looks good. We got a little bit of a spot going there. That's not coming through, so we should be able to, yeah, we can get up behind that and squirt some stuff. Let's see this one. Oh, this one looks good. Nothing there. All right. Well, you know, you think you got it, and you see all that surface rust in there. That's what these roof racks do. They leak, and that water gets down in there, or maybe in this case it was humidity up under the headliner. But we're gonna have to wire brush all that surface rust out and spray some stuff back behind those braces to treat all that. And this is a pretty rust-free truck compared to a lot of trucks of this vintage. So all you can do is fix it and move on. So I'm gonna go ahead and keep stripping these door jambs, and then we'll get to that once we get them all stripped. I want to think about how I want to tackle that. A little Suburban trivia, point of interest. I decided to take the door strikes off because they're not in that great of shape. They got some wear on them, and they got electrical tape around the plastic parts. So I thought, yeah, let's get some new ones. On the front door, you got this plate the door strike screws into, but it is not held by a captive thing inside of the frame. So this came off that side. This plate for this side is somewhere down in the frame because I took it loose and I heard it fall. So I guess I got to get one of those too, unless I can get a magnet down there and a flashlight and figure out where it's at. So if you're taking your door strike off your square body Suburban, take this plastic piece off and hold the back of it. All right, back to more excitement. All right, so I took my little angle grinder and we went around to every door and just got this edge right here, because that's the edge where they had sprayed the second coat of paint over the original. So this here's the original paint, and then they had a second coat over here that and it was all flaking off. So I just went around to every door and knocked that off, and then we went around to every door and got every door edge cleaned up to make sure we got that second coat of paint off of there. I'm gonna have to clean out the bottom of these doors. They got a lot of junk in them. but we'll get that figured out. Maybe I can put like a heater hose on my vacuum cleaner and get it down in there. But anyway, over here at that rust we were looking at. So let me show you what we got first. So what I did, we did a little exploratory surgery, and I just took this little tiny grinder and I cut a slot there. And really, this side and this side, it's pretty solid. There were just some pinholes in there. And I went in, took an air hose and blew it up in there. And you can feel air coming up back out of here. So it's kind of double layered up in there. It's hard to get anything to. I did not want to cut that thing out of there. So what we're going to do, we're going to kind of treat this like if you're fixing a windshield channel, fixed it this way several times. We got this rapid rust converter, got it in a spray bottle. I'll shoot some spray. Let's see if I can get it into the stream mode. Okay. So we're going to spray this up in this channel. Like that. And then we're going to go up to the back side around here. And we're going to spray it down in there. Get a bunch of it in there. You can see it coming through. Make sure we get plenty of it in there. All right. Now we're going to let that kind of dry a little bit. And then I'm going to take this stuff, this all metal body filler. You've seen me use this before. And we're going to patch it with that. And that should give us a good solid patch. So I went around to all four doors. I've got two little spots. So that spot up there, and we've also got this spot here. So same thing, we're going to shoot it up in there. Get plenty of it up in there. It should run down in this seam right here. And then we're going to get that there. Got a hole here. Can you actually see that? Let's see if we can. Where am I at here? There's a little slot I cut. Right there. No, that is double layered there. But if I get it up here on top, it should run down in there. Don't breathe this stuff. Soak it in there good. Like I may end up taking that stuff and just go along this whole thing and just spray it everywhere up in there. Let it run down through those seams. Yeah, see it's running down there right now. All right, so that's the only two spots that were all the way through. There are a couple tiny spots over here that had not advanced that far. In fact, they're just like a little rust stain there. And we'll knock that off and we'll do the same thing there. Front's good. Okay, I'm gonna let that dry overnight before I put that filler on there, but that should be good. And then when we put this back together, we're gonna make sure we put some goo around those screw holes when we put that rain gutter back on. I do want the rain gutter on there. So. All right, well that's that fix. Let's keep on going here. All right, so I went around with, I had a can of filler primer, and we got all these spots that I had welded shut. So got them through the whole truck. Did a couple of coats on them. I'll probably hit them again. I think we can just a few coats of filler primer, hit them with some sandpaper. They'll be fine. I had like one or two that was a little warbly. I put a little bit of filler in, and I went around here. Also, I got this door ready to go. So it is sanded with 220 all the way around. The jamb is sanded with 220 all the way around. Everything's clean on it. We'll have to do another wipe down on it before on the whole thing before it's ready to paint. But that's what I'm doing now, just taking 220 and just hand sanding the jamb, the edge of the door, the bottom of the door, the tops of the doors. And like I said, we're going to take a vacuum and clean these out so we don't get poofs of dust when we start spraying them. Where the door panel goes, I'm not going to worry about that. Over here, I mixed up some of that all metal filler and got it in over here. So we're gonna let that harden up, and then we'll sculpt that with the little die grinder, and I think that's gonna be just fine. And so we did that spot and this spot back here. All right, that's gonna be it for this video. I just want to get an update out. I'm going to be doing the same for the next week, just sanding, fine tuning, filling, getting this thing ready to get some primer on it. There's still several days of work before it's ready to get there, so we're just going to keep going on it. We'll get another video in. I don't know if we'll do next week. It might be the next week, and see where we're at. Maybe we'll. I'll tell you what, when we're ready to shoot some primer on it, that'll be the next video, and we'll get that going. So hit like, hit subscribe, leave a comment, and I'll catch you on the next one.